You have to place all your money into this bet, and the closest guesser wins the bet. So, what year?
Okay.
What is the precise year when the Israeli-Palestinian conflict will be resolved?
Phew. I once said that I think Homo sapiens will disappear before the Israeli-Palestinian conflict will be resolved. And I don't think that's changed.
When are we going to disappear?
In the next century, I think within the next century or two, Homo sapiens will disappear, not because we will be destroyed, but because we will change ourselves. We will use technology to change our bodies and minds to such a degree that we will no longer be Homo sapiens. We will be something quite different.
Hello.
Hi.
I've never met anyone new before. Have you?
None like you.
Again, I would say about the conflict that it is possible to solve it. I mean, very quickly actually. What is lacking is not some theoretical solution. What is lacking is motivation. If you have the motivation, I think it's quite easy to solve it. But living here in Israel, I can't comment on the Palestinians. I'm not part of the Palestinian people. But looking at Israelis, they just don't have the motivation to solve the conflict, not anymore. So without motivation, it's impossible to solve it.
Please choose which one represents Middle East better among the two cliché foods of the Middle East, shish kebab or hummus.
I think hummus, mainly because in the present economic realities of the Middle East, actually quite few people can afford to eat shish kebab a lot. Hummus is a poor person's meal. And unfortunately, more and more Middle Eastern people are mired in poverty.
Very well, our quiz is over. Thank you very much. You did great.
Yes, okay, that's good to hear.
Did you decide to, this is like a wonderful book, your last book, now it's also published in Turkish, your phenomenal Sapiens, now in an illustrated, a graphic book. Did you do this because we're so lazy? Do you think that it'll be easier to read?
No, the aim is to reach new audiences, not children. It's not a children's book. It's meant for adults and teenagers, but people who don't read, usually science books, will not read a 400 pages text on history, but might find the comic version, the graphic novel version attractive. And we also, we invented a lot of fictional characters to tell the story in a more engaging way. So to tell the history of religions and ideologies, we created Dr. Fiction, who personifies the human ability to tell fictional stories, to tell the story of how humans eliminated, destroyed most of the big animals of the world. We created Detective Lopez, a fictional detective who goes around the world investigating the disappearance of the big animals, like a murder mystery, to find out who is this ecological serial killer, who is killing all the animals. But despite the use of these fictional characters and comic style, it's a serious book. It conveys, I think, deep and complicated ideas about history. To some extent, it's even more complicated. It was more difficult to write this book than to write the original book, because we had to answer a lot of new questions. When you write just text, you can ignore many things. Like we discuss that 50,000 years ago, our species, Homo sapiens, interbred with another human species, the Neanderthals. When you write it in a text, you just write Homo sapiens had sex with Neanderthals. That's it. But when you draw the image, you have to be far more concrete. Who actually had sex with whom? Was it a sapiens woman with a Neanderthal man, or a sapiens man with a Neanderthal woman? And what was their skin color? Were sapiens, did they have dark skin 50,000 years ago, or white skin? And so forth. Now, in a text, you can just ignore it. But images are concrete. So you have to go back to the scientific literature and investigate all these questions. And, you know, the big aim is, in this world, when you have all these fake news and conspiracy theories and so forth, scientists have to make an effort to bring the latest scientific knowledge to the general public, to everybody. And this is the main aim behind this graphic novel.